Hey everybody, how are you doing? On this day, it's Sunday, March 30th, 29th, actually. I'm getting a day ahead of myself. Why am I a day ahead of myself? Because one of my favorite places to eat is slated to open tomorrow. I'm hoping that's still the case. I'll find out, but I digress. I hope everybody is, first of all, safe, second, sane, and third, sound. Safe, sane, and sound. The three S's. That's really what's happening here, and that's what's up. Because look, I don't have to tell you, I hope, how bad this is and how crazy this is, what we're going through. But I tell you this: I believe in utopia. I believe in a brighter day. We will get out of this. This too shall pass. But you know what? We're going to come through this better than we ever have before. But until we get there, I have to share this with you. And it's this photograph right here. This is by none other than a guy named Alan Snell of Las Vegas Sports Network. He's lvsportsbiz.com on your internets and my internets too. And he is presenting this.
Robinhood is an investing app that lets you.
He's not presenting Robinhood an investment app, but he is presenting this sad photograph that he took. He writes, went by Raiders Stadium site Tuesday, and proximity of workers to each other concerned me. Today, project contractor Mortensen McCarthy said in a letter, a worker tested positive for the coronavirus. And that was on the 25th. Now, ever since that happened, something else took place. And I will go back and read that something else to you rather than forcing you to read it, trying to squint your eyes and adjust and everything else. And it's not pretty news, okay? It goes like this, and it is from the publication Nevada Independent. If you watch the Democratic debate, presidential debate in Las Vegas, you may remember a guy named John Ralston who was sitting on the right. Well, he was one of the moderators asking questions. He is the publisher of the Nevada Independent and Ralston Reports, and his publication, Nevada Independent, and Riley Snyder, one of their reporters, is running this headline. Nevada regulators say many construction workers, and I'll just show you this, okay? Right here. It's Nevada regulators, okay? See that? Say many construction work sites visibly not following social distancing rules. And to underscore their point, look what's front and center, okay? And unless you think it's a mistake, the caption reads, Allegiant Stadium seen Tuesday, January 28th, 2020, okay, by Jeff Scheid, all right? And this is in the NevadaIndependent.com. And just go there, scroll down, and I'll actually put the link to this so that you can read it in the comment section of our discussion. All right. So that's the headline. Now let me read you what Mr. Snyder writes here. Nevada regulators are warning the state's construction industry to follow social distancing guidelines at active construction sites, stating that it is visibly obvious many employees are working together in close proximity. The letter sent Thursday of last week by the Nevada Occupational Safety and Health Administration, OSHA, or in this specific case, NV-OSHA for Nevada OSHA, comes as positive cases of the novel coronavirus have been reported at construction sites for Allegiant Stadium and Resorts World in Las Vegas. The construction industry was notably exempted from, this is what I'm reading here, was notably exempted from Governor Steve Sisolak's order to shut down all non-essential businesses in the state for a period of at least 30 days to help mitigate the spread of the novel coronavirus. As a condition of staying open, state regulators mandated that essential businesses abide by strict social distancing requirements, including keeping workers and customers at least 6 feet apart whenever possible. Whenever possible. But the letter sent by state OSHA's Chief Administrative Officer, Jess Langford, says that regulators have conducted, and get this, listen to this, conducted intermittent surveys, okay, of active construction sites over the last few days, and that at many work sites, and this is a quote, it is visibly obvious that employees are still being directed / allowed to work in close proximity, less than 6 feet of separation to other staff. The letter says, and I'll show you the letter because it's here, that regulators will be, quote, conducting random on-site inspections to make sure project sites are complying with the coronavirus mitigation measures. Now, momentary aside, regular viewers may remember that I made a special vlog pointing to the fact that the Raiders shut down the interior camera at Allegiant Stadium. No reason, they just shut it down. I believe the reason they did so was to avoid being caught on camera violating the 6-foot rule. Otherwise, why else do it? There's no good reason at this point. You either shut it down because, well, maybe it didn't work, happens, but then they didn't restart it because that's happened before, or they had an accident they didn't want you to see, happens, or the bottom line is you get the idea. The vast majority of reasons for shutting down a cam on a construction site is because you don't want the persons on the internet from anywhere in the world to see anything. That's why. SoFi Stadium had an interior camera a long time ago. They nixed the interior camera almost a year before the interior camera was nixed in this instance. Now, I go on. It reads here, quote, failing to comply, and I'll reread the paragraph that I read before I gave the related aside. The letter says that regulators will be conducting random on-site inspections to make sure project sites are complying with the coronavirus mitigation measures. Quote, failing to comply with the governor's emergency declaration 003 and associated promulgated regulations or guidance will be considered noncompliance with these mandates and may result in the penalizing or closure of any construction site or project that falls under the scope of the governor's emergency declaration. Quote, unquote. Repeat, failing to comply with the governor's emergency declaration 003 and associated promulgated regulations or guidance will be considered noncompliance with those mandates may result in the penalizing or closure of any construction site or project that falls under the scope of the governor's emergency declaration, Langford wrote. Of states that have declared non-essential business shutdowns, construction has typically been allowed to continue with several added restrictions and limitations, though Washington, and this is the article reading this, saying this, not me, Washington, Pennsylvania, and several cities in Massachusetts have ordered full halts to construction. New York announced on Friday that it was pausing all non-essential construction. According to the letter, Nevada OSHA guidelines for construction include limiting meetings to 10 people or less, implementing social distancing procedures, and surveying labor conditions. In bold text, Langford wrote that the agency, quote, was emphasizing the need for construction leadership to be working with and aware of the health and well-being of its labor force. According to the Nevada Association of General Contractors, Nevada Governor Sisolak has created a, quote, task force on construction, unquote, to address and monitor safety conditions at construction sites. I'm going to show you this, folks, because this task force on construction is what's called a live link. All right, take a look at this. Right, see my finger here? Where it's pointing? All right. That is a live link. Okay, task force on construction. That's a live link. All right. Let's see where that link takes us. This is the letter below. I'll get back to that. But let's see where this bad boy takes us. Oh, you know what? They were smart enough to open it in a new window. Okay. I'll read that to you because that's small print. So bear with me, folks. Let me get the camera back in place. Excuse the motion for a moment. Thank you. And read this. AGC members. This is from someone named Ashley Barichoa. On Tuesday evening, Nevada Governor Steve Sisolak created the Task Force on Construction. As you know, Governor Sisolak has declared that construction is an essential business and allowed to continue work during the COVID-19 crisis. Members of the task force will be working together to ensure the safety of construction employees and job sites during the COVID-19 pandemic. Fortunately, Nevada AGC was one of two trade associations representatives appointed to the task force. In order to ensure the governor is aware of the efforts our members are taking to prevent the spread of COVID-19 on job sites, we are asking you to share with us the actions your firm is taking to combat the spread of the disease. Please email your efforts to Alexis Mott-Terex, Alexis M at nevadaagc.org. This is public, so let me show it to you. All right. So we may compile them for distribution. You can, if you're watching this, you want to tell some good news or whatever news, please email your efforts to Alexis Motterex at Alexis M at nevadaagc.org, so we may compile them for distribution. Additionally, if you have any special projects that may assist us in defending construction as an essential industry, please include that information as well. Thank you for your efforts, Craig. Okay, so they're letting it be known that, hey, they're here, or there rather, to defend you as a member of the construction industry in Nevada, because they want them to keep your jobs going. This is serious business, and up to this point, it's quite obvious that by the behavior of Mortensen McCarthy and other individuals, they haven't really taken this very seriously. Meanwhile, the number of people who have the COVID-19 case, and also sadly those who are dying from it, grows seemingly every single moment. I pray to God that this nation never sees the 1 million mark in cases. We need to work vigilantly to make sure that does not happen. So this isn't a matter of, and I should also add, by the way, that the Nevada Independent is a nonprofit that received of its funding $3,200 from Governor Sisolak. This is not a secret. It's right here before my face. Okay. Let me get you the copy by link of the Nevada Independent here, so you can have a read of it for yourself, and learn more about what's happening. Hey, Joseph Amanduras, how are you? Joseph says two things. One, Joseph, I'm going to call you and let you say that on link. I'll let you say that on the phone. So one moment, please, while I give you a buzz. I'm going to give you a buzz via Skype, because Skype is hooked up to the phone and the noise is better than if I just call you. Okay, I mean if I call you by my cell phone. So one moment, please, while I do that. And I am doing that. Let's see here.
Hello?
Joseph Zenny, how are you?
Good, thank you.
Hey, do you mind I get your comment in voice rather than text?
Yeah, I can do that. Can you hear me okay? Because you're coming in and out.
You're loud and clear over here.
Okay.
Okay, yeah. I respaced the speakers so that the feedback was a little less obtrusive. So how's that? How's the sound now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, cool. Folks, Joseph Armendariz is on the phone. I'm typing on the phone. He is a Zenny 62 media vlogger. So this is one of the perks of the association. So what do you say about this?
Well, there's like I mentioned in the text, there's two things, and I'm probably better to elaborate on the phone too. Was we stop and consider, because it's when any big corporation does something and they do something wrong, the first thing we do is we look at the little man, the workers, and we blame them. But if we take a step back and really think about what's going on, we don't know about the extreme pressures they're putting under, because they're probably put in a position where, hey, we need to get this thing done. You're either with us or against us. And think about the potential backlash if those workers refuse to go on site. Okay, we have other projects coming up. You're not going to be allowed to work on those projects. And then the other thing is the income coming in for their families. Do they risk going to work, not feeding their families? And when you have potentially, like this is all speculation, but we can only go by the limited information that not only McCarthy is giving us, but what we see. And so how do we know that they're not put in a position where, hey, either you do this or that's it. You're not going to work with this any further. So we don't know. That's one thing, right? And the second thing also is, imagine the peer pressure the governor has potentially from big money donors who support the stadium, but also have given money to the governor. And if they're behind it, and we know about how big money works and the pressures they can put not only on those who are in politics, but local businesses, hey, we need these things done for whatever reason. We need it now. You're talking about tons and billions of dollars coming in, and not only 2 years to work, there's going to be political repercussions for you down the line. So it doesn't surprise me that that camera was taken out, because obviously, as you pointed out, that's exactly why it was taken out, because they're violating the 6-foot rule.
Well, see, to me, the reason why they shouldn't have done it that way, and I agree with you, those pressures are there, but it also sets up, and I really like to remind people of this in involved in large scale projects that have the opportunity to change our lives in many different ways, and this is one of them, that you have to be careful that your actions do not ignite, because they're so great, against what somebody else wants or is in their best interests, that it doesn't ignite a backlash against what you're trying to do, in effect, creating your own, if you will, virus, okay, against what you're trying to do. And I want to, on that note, I want to echo something that Juan Ramirez just put in. And I was just also informed that there are 5 more weeks of lockdown in the San Francisco Bay Area. Juan Ramirez writes, keep those who have lost their jobs and health in thoughts and prayers. There is power in prayer. And I could not agree more. He says, God bless everyone. And I echo that sentiment. And that underscores the point that I'm trying to make. People seem to forget that lives are more important than money. Money is a construct by man, okay, and woman, or people. Without people, there's no money. All of this is a construct. Money, as many have said, I'm sure your parents told you when you were little, if not now, money doesn't grow on trees. Or you may be of the age where you're telling that to your kids. Money doesn't grow on trees. And so,
can I add one more?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Money is the root of all evil.
Yeah. Yeah. Money is the root of all evil. And look, a whole other conversation about how we got here from the perspective of who created the virus or how it started. I'm not willing to bring that up right now because it deserves its own platform. But the simple fact of the matter is there are key aspects of this project that, because they are there, they have ran up against the social distancing and other measures to flatten the curve of the spread of the coronavirus. Among them, something that was pointed out in Oakland News Now, my blog, when a group of whistleblowers contacted me out of the blue back in December, and after proving that they indeed were workers on the site, because I had people say, hey, look, I have this information or I have that information, and they claim insider knowledge and couldn't prove that they had any true insider status. These folks proved it through real receipts, real emails, real meeting schedule notices that I was sent with names I'm not going to repeat. And I've gotten contacts from other people whose names I'm not going to mention. They indeed worked on this project. They sent bulk pictures. They sent a number of key pictures from on site. And I don't mean pictures that anybody could take from some live stream camera. No, I mean down close pictures of bolts and everything else right here at OaklandNewsNow.com. At any rate, in writing the piece on the whistleblowers and what they had done, I happened to link to 2 of the contractor companies that are working as subcontractors to Mortensen McCarthy on the Las Vegas Stadium, now called Allegiant Stadium project, for the Los Angeles, it used to be Los Angeles, used to be Oakland, now called Las Vegas Raiders, and let's not forget the University of Nevada, Las Vegas run-in Rebels, okay? And that, I mean, it really has to be noted that that the real culprit, the real reason why we're shut down if they keep violating social distancing rules, all right, is because, very simply, of the fast track that this was put on, all right? And there were a number of, the Arab firm, most notably, in its update, wrote this. Arab is one of the subcontractors. And Arab says this is a hallmark project for the state of Nevada and the Raiders. Allegiant Stadium will feature 65,000 seats, a movable field, a retractable north facade wall, and a translucent cable truss supported roof. Sharing the project team's common objective of expediting the construction timeline. I will repeat that. Sharing the project team's common objective of expediting the construction timeline, Arup conceptualized and implemented flexible design features such as the adjustable structural connection at the cable truss to compression ring interface to align with the construction schedule. The design build team embraced a collaborative review approach with the Clark County Department of Building and Fire Prevention to achieve the project's phased permit goals in alignment with fast-track construction goals. One of the major innovative elements that Arup incorporated into the project is the intricately designed cable truss roof, a departure from the classic structural engineering solution. This lightweight cable truss connection to the structural steel provides a significantly increased construction tolerance during the big lift of the cables, requiring high geometric precision. And I can tell you that one person who was involved with this told me that the process to get the roof even where it is today was simply, and I quote, a mess. Now, that was before the coronavirus. That was before where we are right now. And so the drive to finish this fast, to make it look like it's on time, even though, in honesty, it has been off schedule for some time, about really 2 years. I'm not saying it's supposed to have been done 2 years ago, but 2 years ago, it was said it was supposed to have been finished by May of 2020. We obviously are not going to get there. May of 2020 turned into June. June turned into July, and then July turned into mid-August. Mid-August turned into mid-September, and then mid-September, I noted a change in the construction schedule that was put up on the website of Las Vegas Stadium Authority. And then the very next 2 weeks from that point, they put in a new schedule that brought everything back to July 31st. And then they started the nomenclature change saying, well, not the nomenclature claims, but the word game, where we're going to finish it entirely by July 31st. And then Don Webb would say substantial completion, but then he would say entirely, and he quite literally said two different things at once at various times. I kid you not. So, and I'm not the only person to point that out. The news media has also pointed this out too, in terms of how confusing it is. Or just simply repeating one message and then the other at different times. Mara Ramirez, we quoted, and John Akala says, hello. There's even more pressure now to finish the stadium because the Raiders mistakenly opted out of their lease for 2020 season, talking about Oakland. Juan Ramirez adds, I live outside of Lemoore, California, the home of the Tachi Palace Casino. They have a massive casino, which is currently closed, but they have gas stations with slot machines. And it was full of people playing slot machines. Wow. You mean at a distance? Then he adds so much for social distancing. Tyler Moyer says, I really didn't understand the outrage over this. Should be more outrage over the fact that social distancing is not being practiced in major grocery stores. I agree with you there. I made a video about that tonight. Edward Reed says, hello, Zen. I still think 2020 Oakland. And Tyler Moore says, this is a bigger problem than this. I think it's all intertwined. I don't know that it could be said that one problem is necessarily bigger than the other, you know? They're both symptomatic of a larger problem. And the larger problem, I hate to say this, is really understandable. We just don't want to give up what we're used to doing. It doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't matter if you're the the guy or gal that likes to go out and talk and likes to be the person about town, the person of the people. You got the gift of gab, which is particularly troublesome in an environment where some people seem to be married to their smartphones, but you've carved out for yourself a nice environment and a place where people are not so much on their smartphones as they are socializing. Now you're stuck inside and you hate it. Or take people who are just simply separated from their loved ones. By the grace of God, I'm able to be here with my mother. But that's not true for a lot of people. Okay? So I'm not at all angry over the reasons why they're doing what they're doing. I'm simply saying that we have to together lurch, and then we use technology. That's the beauty of this, is that we have technology to use to overcome it, but also we have to reorient our priorities. Like Joseph opened up this phase of the conversation by talking about the money that's on the table. Well, why should that subordinate life? Okay. And that's really, think about this in a bigger picture where we're at. And I hate to put it that way, but we are at this. Do you realize that no one can tell you or me, us, exactly how this damn thing started? That doesn't alarm you, it alarms me. You can watch Forensic Files. I love Forensic Files. What is Forensic Files about? But you're being able to find out how a crime was committed all the way down to some DNA found in the strand of carpet off in the corner of a very dirty room maintained by a person who was too busy to clean it but did something wrong, right? So if you can have successful forensic investigations done in environments like that, why the heck can't anyone tell me exactly where, when, how, and why this virus came among us? I don't want to hear about race or anything like that. I want names, places, faces, and dates. That you don't know that and that I don't know that pisses me off. Okay? It pisses me off. So, because we're in that situation and we don't know that, a number of people are saying this is simply an act of God. I choose to look at it this way. God gave us the environment and yes, arguably created the situation where in which this happened, but gave us the brains to figure out exactly how. But it's like we've given up. And if this is indeed what it appears to be an act of God, but with a reason, okay, then the question is, what the heck is God trying to tell us? What the heck is God trying to tell us? I don't have the answer. I have my interpretation of it. I'd like to hear what Joseph's is. I'd like to hear what yours is. How it relates to NFL football. With this, you could say that if you think about it, the two NFL cities that are new, all right, are also the ones that just so happen to have punished other traditional NFL cities that had loyal fan bases for money. Okay. Your thoughts, Joseph?
You pass it on to me, right?
You're the only one around.
Okay. There was a gap there. So, yeah, it's for me, it's just quite evident that it seems like money is the issue with everything here. And I think the primary reason why they continue doing what they're doing, it hasn't hit home personally yet. It's a famous quote by Malcolm X, the chickens came home to roost. And when it does, boy, there's going to be a price to pay for that. Because obviously it hasn't affected them personally yet. And obviously it has, because when we have, for example, with the stadium build, you have a worker that came down with the virus, and yet that alone didn't pause. They didn't rethink this whole thing through. They continued like if nothing happened. I'm sure they gave a speech. They put up a sign in front of the stadium about COVID-19. But what good putting up signs or giving a speech if there is no action behind it, if there's no follow through? To give a perfect football analogy, it's like the coach going on the whiteboard and giving instruction on the plays, the X's and the O's. But if you don't put that out in the field and do it, practice it, what's the point of going over the whiteboard? And that's exactly what you have here. You have, hypothetically, McCarthy giving speeches about social distancing or putting PR statements on the website about taking every precaution. But obviously, saying and doing are two different things at this point.
Yeah, and I agree with you. I don't know if you can see this, but you can't because it's blurred out. I'm going to underscore the point that you're making. I am going to actually post a photograph that I took from from a YouTube photo that was put up by a man named, I don't know his full name, Duntov, who has the YouTube channel, great channel called Raiders 1967. And he wrote, just drove past the stadium and saw this tent in the Hacienda Bridge lot. Does anyone know what it's for? Maybe a Mark Davis lunch coming up. I mean, he posted this he posted this today at 6:53 p.m., 2 hours before that, about 4:53 p.m. my time. All right. And he says, we'll get out there tomorrow for a photo taken Sunday, March 29, 2020. I'm thinking, what's going through what's going through Duntov's mind that he would not be aware that we're in the middle of a pandemic? So if we're in the middle of a pandemic, why would you even think that someone's going to be stupid enough to have a lunch there a few days after the Nevada government has issued a warning, right? In this tent that I'm about to show you a photograph of that you can see, okay? And I'm opening up right now. And that's not it. This is it. Here it is.
Well, while you open that up, I can inject something as well. A few days ago, I emailed Duntov because I saw a blog that he had, or a video that he had, excuse me, where he had claimed that he spoke to one of the workers and they had to redo the front of the stadium. Mm-hmm. And he wasn't specific about it, so I emailed him just to get some information. Unfortunately, I haven't heard back from him as of today. Mm-hmm. But in that video, it was implied that they were going to have to redo the front of the stadium because they had taken down or were planning to break concrete again around that area. And so I'm not sure what that entailed, but according to him, that he spoke to a worker that had claimed that that was the case. So again, there's another possible mistake, and the delay is. But of course, that's minuscule as opposed to what you're saying too. Is that why? Let's hope that those white tents are for testing and not for a lunch.
That's what I wrote.
I would like to think, yeah, that. Well, you and me both. I think, considering that they found a worker that tested positive for the virus, I would hope that with the remaining workers they do have on site, that they isolate that site and get those workers there tested, and hopefully that'll ease a lot of everybody's concerns whether or not they should even continue working or not.
Yeah, I don't know if you have your screen open, but I have it up, and what it reveals is a smaller tent next to another tent that's about 20 times larger, and I believe it is a COVID-19 testing tent. It's not a luncheon for 12,000 workers. It's a testing tent. Because to have a luncheon for 12,000 workers there would be basically an admission that he's trying to basically commit some sort of harakiri against his own project. Okay. But that's what I believe is there. Dontov says he's going down to take a picture, a photograph. But the bigger question is, and it gets to my other point, is why aren't we talking about the future of the NFL through this? I mean, do we have a season? Because it's looking like as we go further and further, we're cutting out various aspects of what we're used to doing before to prepare for an NFL season. And it just seems to be continuing, as opposed to taking the NBA's route, which is, hey, we're not going to have anything. Now, I'm not saying to you I desire that. I don't. Because the NFL is part of the cultural glue that keeps us together. It keeps people, keeps families together, people happy. It gives somebody, a reason to get up in the morning at many points. But I believe now that if you are watching the channel, you can see the points. But I believe now that if you are watching the channel, you can see the tent that I'm referring to, and where Dontov writes, just drove past the stadium and saw this tent in the Hacienda Bridge lot. Does anyone know what it's for? Maybe a Mark Davis luncheon coming up. Well, we'll get out there for tomorrow for a video. And I wrote in the comments section below, I wrote that as a response back to him. If it's visible, I don't think it is here. But what I wrote to him basically was, I said, look, we're in the middle of a pandemic. That's not for luncheon. That is for COVID-19 testing. And but it also underscores my point, is that people don't get, including innocently enough Dontov, where we are. Because if he really got where we are, he would say, hey, you know what? I hope that's a testing tent for construction workers. Okay? As opposed to a luncheon. We really have to examine our priorities as a world, because this isn't something that is locked into just the United States. This is the whole damn world. The whole damn world. Everybody's going through this. We're at a stage that I never thought I'd see in my life. I'm certain none of you thought as well. And so the ideas that created a society where in the United States case you have three people that have more collective wealth than 50% of the country are now under question. And we've allowed that. We've allowed a society that bears slight resemblance to an Ayn Rand novel. If you know of Ayn Rand, she is the famous economist who created the ideology of objectivism. I was an objectivist for basically a year when I was 17 years old. Why? Because it was intellectually, or what I thought was intellectually attractive. Or I'll be more derisive of my thinking at the time, what I thought was intelligent. There is nothing intelligent about objectivism. There's everything selfish about objectivism. And that's, in a number of ways, the society we've allowed to build. You want another example? the fact that we have quite literally taken almost no interest in how government works, which means we don't understand the mechanisms that we pay for through our taxes to deliver services to people who need them the most. Very often we're derisive of them. We have to stop that. So we have, I think I got a text here from, I want to read that I thought was really quite interesting. From Russell Rivera, if he doesn't mind that I mention his name, he says, the fact that they are wasting COVID-19 tests and masks on construction workers to make sure they do or don't have it so they can keep working with healthcare people, don't have the masks and tests they need to stay alive themselves, that's a real crime, he's saying. And I agree. I mean, but again, it all goes back to that question of, why are we choosing money over people rather than directing resources to people to keep them alive? And I'll go a step further. We should stop asking why and just stop doing it. Again, money is a construct we create. You want proof? Look at all the cryptocurrencies. Oh, I forgot to check my Coinbase account. Okay. But look at me, right? That is how we've designed ourselves as a culture. We have these constant devices that tell us more and more and more. But we have another far more troublesome thing. And that is, and Jessica Dwyer pointed this out when she was reviewing the latest The Walking Dead episode, that everything is dystopian. Everything is, everything is not hopeful. You have the Star Trek United Federation of Planets basically being telling everybody that they're bad if they're not like other people. That wasn't the other Federation's original intent under Gene Roddenberry. Everything is the term of dystopian, which I hate. Just country on the planet, arguably still are. But we believed in the application of technology to improve our health, clean up our environment, and make our lives better. That message is throughout the popular culture of the time, and in particular, Star Trek. In Star Trek's world, if you were an artist, you didn't have to worry about money. In fact, you didn't have to worry about money if you were anybody. Your basic needs were taken care of. Maybe it's this kind of situation that drives us toward that kind of social solution. We can achieve it.
And I think for us to be hopeful, I think if we could find any silver lining in this whole thing, is that it's going to allow us to be more self-reliant on our own industries and not be reliant on foreign countries to provide not only services but goods for us.
Yeah.
And I think we're seeing that with even, for example, New Era and people, and those, since we're sports related here, using jersey materials and what they would normally use to make jerseys, to make face masks for the healthcare workers. And just to follow up on that, I have a personal friend that's been working a couple years with me. He's a former U.S. Army veteran. And now where he works at the hospital, he can't find any face masks to wear. And he's in a dilemma because he doesn't know if he should continue working and exposing himself and bringing it back home to his family and his young daughter.
And see, he should have, there's that choice again, Joseph. He shouldn't have to make that choice.
No, well, yes, exactly. But I mean, that's what's going on. That just to emphasize the things that you were saying. I have a personal account based on my friend, a personal account from him saying he doesn't know what to do to continue working. He needs to pay his mortgage and expose himself. And there's no face mask. They're asking them to wear the same one day in and day out, which normally you would wear each time you see a patient. Now you have to wear it throughout the whole day and maybe even the following day.
Hey, I mean, here's the thing. I mean, get to your comments, and we have a lot of people watching, which is great. We don't have a lot of people commenting, so I'll read them. Ryan Abbott, welcome. Jose Tellez says, everyone please be safe. Donis, how you doing? Donis says Spanish flu. I don't know. Ryan Abbott says, heard Dak Prescott. Here's a sports question. Heard Dak Prescott was going to wait out Patrick Mahomes so he can make more money. I'm going to go. I'm happy you mentioned that just to, get us back to the reality that we need to have fun, right? We need to get through this in an enjoyable way. And what better way to do that than to argue about whether or not Dak Prescott is worth more than Patrick Mahomes? Oh, by the way, I forgot to say, if you happen to be watching this and your name is Derek Carr, happy belated birthday. Now get back to what Ryan was saying. Ryan, Dak Prescott should not get more money than Patrick Mahomes. Why? Which one has a ring? Just saying. Chi, how you doing? She says, if the NFL does return, will the Raiders play at Levi Stadium if the Vegas Stadium is not done? I don't
think so.
I don't believe that they would do that. I think that since the Raiders still have a foothold in Alameda, let's believe that they would do that. I think that since the Raiders still have a foothold in Alameda, let's not forget the Raiders, even though they call themselves Las Vegas Raiders, still have a great percentage of their total organization near Oakland, specifically in Alameda. So at 1221 Harbor Bay Parkway is the address. And by the way,
Well,
let me hold on. All right, folks, in Alameda, I want you to go do me a favor, okay? I want you to go and patronize. I want you to go order takeout Listen to me, okay? Listen to me. If you're in Oakland or Alameda, or if you want to get in the car and go over to this place, all right? I want you to go do this. I want you to do this. I want you to go over there. Heck, you get an Uber or Lyft in a restaurant. Linguini's restaurant is a great, okay, restaurant. Unfortunately, they're closed until 3:25, which means they're back open. They may have extended it. I don't know that they have a takeout, but this place, look at that pizza, folks. Look at that pizza. All right, are you kidding me? All right, I mean, you got to give them your love. Okay, you got to give them your love and everything. All right, you gotta, because they deserve. They deserve to be patronized. They deserve the money that everybody has to spend. Let me put that up there a little bit more. Trying to make sure I get that centered. There we are. Linguini's. All right. Linguinisrestaurant.com. Okay. Can't believe they're not announcing their delivery. Let's see what's going on here. Just going through. There he is. Look at that. Look at that. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? It's an Alameda tradition, Alameda, California. Okay. All right. I mean, this is the place. This is the place. You can contact them, give them a call. This is unpaid for. All right. They have several locations. 1508 Park. That's the historic one. All right. 1508 Park. Okay. You can sign up, become a VIP. All right. And then there, 1506 Park. That's really same place. All right. Pasta and Vino is here. Restaurant is over here. Okay. There's the locations. 11:30 to 9 p.m. All right. That place has a special. We'll always have a special area in my mind and my palate because Alocasal. Raiders executive assistant Al Davis' right hand and I used to meet there for lunch every month, once a month, for almost 2 years. He taught me all the NFL politics I know. Okay. From 1996 to 1998. All right. The linguine there is fantastic. So, true Raider fans from around the country, you want to know where to go. You want to know to descend. All right. Alameda's, Linguini's, 1506, Park. There you go. All right. Thank you.
Hey,
Thank
Danny,
you, Sean. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Do you mind if I chime in? I know I have a list of Food Network top 10 restaurants in Oakland, if you want me to read those
Yeah,
out.
please do. Absolutely. Hold on a second. Joseph Almendarez is going to read out the Food Network top 10 restaurants in Oakland. Go for it, man.
Okay, we'll start off with a restaurant called The Cook and Her Farmer on 510 9th Street.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And that's a oyster wine bar.
Yes.
Tucked away in Swans Market.
That's right. Old Oakland.
And we have another one called a Westie Bar and Kitchen on Clay Street, 722 Clay Street.
Mm-hmm.
And that's in Old Oakland, too. Multicultural dinner plate. That's how it's designated. We have another one called Brown Sugar Kitchen on 2295 Broadway.
Tanya Holland. I saw Tanya. Hold on a second. I saw Tanya Holland. That's her place. I saw Tanya and interviewed her at the culinary kickoff Super Bowl party in Miami at the Guitar Hotel a few months ago, specifically February 1st of this year. No, excuse me. That wasn't February 1st. That was Thursday night. So it was January 30th. Yeah, January 30th. Culinary kickoff Super Bowl party produced by my friend Chrissy Delisle, where I interviewed also Charles Woodson, Raiders, Jerry Rice, and hey, you know what? Even met. That's right, Jamie Foxx. But I digress. I was like, so you know what? These are the things you can do when you don't have to worry about the social distancing so much, right? Or at all.
Yeah.
Dang it.
And just to follow up on Brown Sugar.
Oh, that hurts. I'm sorry. Go ahead. What were you saying? I had such a great time. Oh, by the way, I have to say, sorry. Joseph, repeat your last one because I went off on a tangent there. I want everybody to hear the top 10. Repeat that again, please. Brown Sugar, right?
Okay. Yeah, Brown Sugar, that's on 2295 Broadway. Their specialty is cornmeal waffles paired with buttermilk fried chicken, brown sugar butter, and apple cider syrup on top of everything.
Mm-hmm.
The next one is called In Sorrow on 357A Grand Avenue.
Yep.
And that's providing, I guess, Ethiopian cuisine.
Yes, right down the street from where I live. Yep. Great place.
Okay. And we have another one called Everett and Jones Bar. Oh, I love barbecue.
Classic. Everett and Jones is a classic. That's the other place you got to go as a Raider fan. Everett and Jones. Yeah.
And that's on 126 Broadway.
Yep.
And
Jack London Square.
Yeah. Jack London Square and Laurel District of East Oakland.
Well, that's right. They got two locations. Yeah.
The other one is the home of chicken and waffles on 444 Embarcadero West.
Yes.
Embarcadero West. On 444 Embarcadero West.
Yep.
Home of chicken and waffles. And another one we have is Kingston 11 on 2270 Telegraph Avenue.
Mm-hmm. Kingston 11 is my friend Adrian owns Kingston 11. And Adrian is a huge Golden State Warriors fan. Kingston 11 has some of the best Jamaican cuisine you would ever want to eat in your entire life. Order takeout. He'll definitely appreciate it. In fact, I would get him on this show. All right. Sean asked me, have I been to Marshawn Lynch Place in Emeryville? Not yet. But is that the list or?
No, there's more.
Keep going, please.
So that's on Telegraph, Kingston
Mhm.
11. The other one is Lena's Soul Food Cafe on 6403 Foothill Boulevard.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
And we have another one on MacArthur Boulevard called Maliki, 3725. It's an authentic Nigerian restaurant.
Yes.
And we also have Miss Ollie on 901 Washington Street, which is a Caribbean counter.
That's also another old Oakland establishment, by the way. 901
Yeah,
Washington.
and just, it was also featured in Anthony Bourdain's show prior to him passing.
Oh, I didn't realize that. Okay. Huh. I have to get that clip.
Yeah. And another one's called Solely Vegan on 301 Broadway.
Solely Vegan is awesome. Yeah.
And they're famous for their southern-inspired meals like okra gumbo with grits and the Nola quintessential sighting shrimp po' boy. And the bonus of all that is it's locally owned, all black-owned restaurant.
Right. That's right. Yeah. And Oakland has still a healthy, contrary to popular opinion for those who think that we've all been gentrified out of Oakland, set of black-owned food businesses to patronize with excellent food. Excellent food. Thank you for that, Joseph.
So no problem. I have a fun question just to ask you. So, the time I went for a summer program at Berkeley, obviously I spent some time around that area, and Telegraph Road is obviously very popular. How far does that stretch into Oakland? Like how many miles?
Telegraph actually stretches all the way through Oakland. It really starts past Oakland in north in Berkeley, and Telegraph actually, I'll tell you where Telegraph Avenue really stops. Telegraph stops if you ever went to Cal, it stops at Sather Gate. And at Sather Gate, it runs into Bancroft. You can only turn left and go downhill toward downtown Berkeley and Shattuck Avenue. But where it starts there, you can quite literally start. It's a one-way street past Dwight, okay? And but if you start at Dwight and turn right and go past such places as the Village where the Star Trek Federation Trading Post used to be located, there's a video of that here at Zenny62 on YouTube, and just keep going all the way down Telegraph, you'll eventually wind up going into downtown Oakland, past, and if you keep on going, you will eventually wind up going to, you'll wind your way all the way to, and then find yourself in San Leandro, if I am not mistaken. And so I know that it is a very long street, okay? And so you maybe gave me an idea because I was thinking about how long it is. And Telegraph Avenue actually stops. There's another street. Telegraph Avenue actually stops, though. I'm trying to figure out where it stops because I don't want to get myself to the point where I'm thinking, okay, I've got it. But you know what it does, though? It stops. Telegraph Avenue starts in Berkeley. It stops in downtown Oakland. And it stops at a place. It intersects with Broadway, and it runs into Broadway. I don't know why it said it ran all the way into San Leandro. I was thinking about International Boulevard. But it actually stops where the famous Flatiron Building is located. And the newest Pete's Coffee, in fact, though, if you ever go to Pete's Coffee in downtown Oakland, that is where it's right next to where Telegraph Avenue stops. And so that is, so if you ever see an image of Pete's Coffee, you'll say, oh, okay, I get it. Or better yet, Pete's Coffee downtown Oakland, because I made a couple of videos there. Actually, I made several videos there. Yeah, here, okay. here is Pete's. That's me at Pete's Coffee because I'm giving a plug because they were kind enough to give me pastries when I was in there. Okay, that's me enjoying. I'm giving my. I'm so happy because I'm actually ordering coffee, and what they've done is they gave me free pastries that I took to my godparents, which happen to be the mayor's parents, because we always have dinner. Okay, and there that is. But you see how it comes in like this? That's Broadway and that's Telegraph, and they meet right there. They meet right in front of Pete's. So you would say, why am I'm doing that? And then here actually is here's the video. Okay.
Hey folks, I'm at the new Pete's Coffee, what we call the Flatiron Building here, where Telegraph and Broadway meet, as you can tell right here. See right there, where that monstrosity of a building is going up right over there. It's going to be 32 stories, but that's another story. At any rate, they're kind enough to give me pastries because I'm going to take them over to my godparents because I'm going to be late for dinner. But take a look at this. My gosh, this is my lord. So, Bob and Barbara, you guys are going to have a haul. So, Libby, you can't say I didn't do anything for your parents. Ta-da! Look at that. Hey, thanks, guys. Good morning. Hey, tell them, what's your name? Harrison. And? Ian, yeah. So check out these wonderful gentlemen in Oakland. Give them your best and give them your money. All right. Nice. Thanks, guys. What's the official address, by the way?
1615 Broadway.
1615 Broadway. Ooh, I got a haul.
You're the best. You see that? That's street. That's Telegraph right there. Okay.
All right.
That's Telegraph right there. Another great place that you should go to on Telegraph is called Cafe Van Cleef, owned by the late Peter Van Cleef, who passed away a couple years ago. A great Oakland treasure. Anyway, so there you are, folks. And there's Telegraph. Telegraph actually, that's where Telegraph begins, right where that Pete's Coffee is, okay? And then it goes all the way up to Cal. All right. So so there's your Oakland story. I was thinking about International Boulevard. Actually, if you take the 51 from there, I think it actually goes down to Telegraph. I think it actually turns somewhere at International Boulevard. You can take the 51 all the way to San Leandro. So anyway, John Akala says, do you believe the Raiders will revert back to Oakland Raiders if they somehow end up playing in Oakland for 2020 season? You know, John, that's a fantasy. But look, you know, I heard something on the radio that, I was about to say it's not likely or it's impossible, but I'll tell you what. And Joseph, I'm sure you'll agree with me. Given where we are today, how can we say anything is impossible anymore? I never honestly thought this would happen to us, but it's biblical. So do I believe they will? No. Do I believe it's possible? The question is, under what certain circumstances would that occur? Because as Russell Rivera, if he's watching, would very fondly point out, we have an April 16th court date coming up. Now, I haven't checked to see if that's still on. I need to check the documents, but it's there. I don't know how they're going to handle it, and how this whole situation is going to impact upon that lawsuit. That lawsuit is not going away. Someone else had this idea that the Major League Baseball, in order to recover lost revenue, should expand by 2 cities. And I heard that as I was driving today. And I thought, hey, wait a minute. If you applied that to the NFL, does that mean the league would be open to allowing new teams in Oakland and St. Louis? And in the case of the Coliseum, nobody can say we don't have a stadium that didn't host an NFL team. Okay. So the Raiders would stay in Vegas. But it may be played this year, 2020. But in an effort for the league to recover lost revenue, particularly television revenue, because let's face it, it's going to take a long time for Las Vegas to recover. Why not have a team in Oakland? The unfortunate fact of the matter is that Las Vegas will need 2 full years to fully recover its economic strength. I'm talking about conventions, shows. Do you realize that hasn't been talked about yet? I'm the first person to raise this issue in the media right now, is that the 46 events that the Raiders and originally Majestic Realty and Las Vegas Sands believed they could score for Las Vegas Stadium, do you realize all of that is in question? I mean, they're looking in horror at the Garth Brooks schedule and wondering if that really is going to happen, because the schedule, the construction monitor's report for Las Vegas Stadium said as recently as the last meeting, which was March 19th, that there was no date certain for any event. Did you read that? You didn't hear that in the media, except me. You should have, but it's right there in black and white. It was originally August 16th of this year. Folks, that date's off. And so if that date is off, and yet you've got Garth Brooks on the horizon, then how can you realistically say that Garth Brooks is going to happen? This is a new world. And we're going to need another stimulus before this is done. File your taxes if you haven't done that. And don't think that this money isn't going to come down. It is. This is a whole new world, economic world. And I think we need to have a live stream to discuss how all this is going to affect us, how it's going to affect you, and I think more important, how you can benefit from it. I don't have that answer. So this is a journey that you and I have to walk together. And I want to say something else too. I know there's been a lot of us versus them rancor. I want to bring everybody into this tent. We all got to get together. People who are Raider fans in Vegas, LA, Cucamonga, Africa, Germany, Japan, Irwindale, Houston, we all have to come together as one, because everybody needs the help of each other. We have to show the example. We have to show a light that hasn't been there. And too many of you have gotten off, literally, on this idea of the us versus them. And you've been led by an Oakland Raiders owner, Mark Davis. That's got to stop. Okay? Everybody, and if it's said that once a Raider, always a Raider, then it should be once a Raider fan, always a Raider fan, regardless of location. If we truly adhere to that edict, I think that this can be a place as a state of mind that helps us and other people get through this. I really believe we need to grow in that way. That includes the Las Vegas Review-Journal and the reporters that have stoked the flames of division, both in their writing and on social media, and done it again and again and again. Like, Rich Villada. He's got to be that person. I had him on my show, okay? So I, long time ago, said, hey, you know what? This guy's an expert at Vegas. I love Vegas. I want him on. Okay? But too often, he has been the engine to try to advance the idea that I said something I never said. Like, for example, I didn't come up with any steel rumors. But he and Tommy White, who I admire, of 872 Laborers, together have done that, as well as Steve Wolford on News 8. Now, yeah, they were kidding and having fun, right? I get that. But I'm saying it wasn't something you needed to do, because then I say, I'm hearing from it, and I'm saying, hey, I didn't do that. And I have no reason to not like these folks. Tommy White has done a lot of great things for people in prisons who need work and jobs. I've never been in that situation, but I'm saying that it's people like Tommy that should understand more than most the importance of helping those who can't help themselves. And that is where we are as a collective. As a collective. All right. So we have to, and I know some people don't look like hearing this because they've kind of went off and went from 26 people to maybe also it's late, but but I wanted to get that out of the way. We have to move forward. Some of you are saying, well, you're always pointing out problems with the stadium. Yeah, because nobody else is. And others have simply said, well, you don't know what you're talking about. And the common advancement of this project has borne out that I did. Or someone else would say, well, you said that this whole thing wasn't going to happen. And I've explained that, hey, look, you know what? I thought Oakland Mayor Libby Schaaf was going to do what the NFL asked. I believe that right up until 5/11, the morning of the 26th of March of 2017, of the day that the vote happened. In other words, almost right up to the last minute. I thought the mayor was going to fly in. Didn't. Okay. So, no. But just from a little bit before that point to sometime after, there were a number of people that were involved in the financial planning for Las Vegas Stadium that I was not only talking to privately, but I was also advising. Why? Because when it came to tax increment financing, none of them had a spreadsheet that explained how tax increment financing would be used in a total structure of financings for an NFL stadium. I have one. Why? Because I developed it originally as far back as 2000, the year 2000, actually a little bit before that. And then I honed it, and then I turned it into part of a game I built called the Oakland Baseball Sim World, so that if you were a student, say at the University of San Francisco, were taking Dan Rash's course, you would use the game, and you would understand how tax increment financing worked, as well as other stadium financing options like Melrose financing option, which you can lose in California, and how to apply it as part of a layer cake of financing sources for stadium, including personal seat licenses and so on. So in other words, I helped them. Okay. So for those of you out there who are saying, oh, you were against the project, you know what? What I'm against are people who tell me I don't know what I'm talking about things I know what I'm talking about. If I don't know something, I'll be the first to tell you. But don't you tell me I don't know what I'm talking about when it comes to complex